Shadows TCG here and welcome to another TCG video on my channel. As you know, my channel is all about the trading card game, and in this video I'm gonna talk about the top 10 best new GX cards from Burning Shadows. Just like every set, I'm gonna talk about the best GXs you have to look out for at your pre-release or when the set finally comes out, this time on the 4th of August. So there are two GXs that just cut short and did not make the top 10 list, which are Machamp GX and a Lowland Mug Gx. So what is the problem with these guys? They look pretty sick, I know. Machamp GX here is the full art version. So as you see, Machamp does have a huge amount of HP, 250 HP for a GX, not bad, but this is the worst one of the set in my opinion. Why is that? Well, the weakness holds it back so much. We have a weakness to Psychic, which means we are getting destroyed by things like Gardevoir and Espeon, which are being played a lot in the format. Gardevoir is still huge, so having a Psychic weakness is definitely not good, and you get destroyed by Gardevoir. So the thing here, it also has an interesting attack. For 2 energies, you deal 60 damage. If the opponent's Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon, you deal 60 more damage. So that means we are definitely hitting 120 damage. With strong energy, we are hitting bigger numbers like that. But in my opinion, being this Pokemon, having so many slots in your deck provided to a Machamp GX is not the best thing. You should also notice that there is a Machoke around in the Sun and Moon era, which blocks damage on the bench, so that could be useful. But Machamp GX won't be making and top cuts in any tournaments because Gardevoir is still so huge, and having that weakness is not good. It also has an attack 130 damage, and you discard a Stadium card. And then the GX move is just dealing 180 damage without any shenanigans or resistance. So the GX move is also not the best one out there. So this is the worst GX, did not make the top 10 list. Another one here is a Lowland Mug Gx. What is the problem with this guy? Well, I'm gonna talk about it today. Well, it does have some potential, dealing 10 damage plus 70 more for each special condition on the opponent's active Pokemon. A combination with Salazzle could be possible here, but then you are still only dealing 150 damage, which is, just the same as a Berserk of, Drampa. That is just a basic Pokemon. Only needing 3 energies, just like the Lowland Mug GX. So you need a lot of shenanigans with this combination to get it going. Drampa is just way more efficient to deal 150 damage, so I don't think a Lowland Mug is that good. It also has an attack crunch, discarding an energy from the opponent's Pokemon. And then, that Tri-Hazard GX can cause some trouble here and there. It drags some of the opponent's bench Pokemon to the active position. Yeah, it's just like that. And what else does it do? Let me just look at the card. Switch your opponent with one of your switch your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of your opponent's active Pokemon. The new active Pokemon is now burned, paralyzed, and poisoned. This is a GX move that doesn't need any energy, so that is kind of cool. But the problem with this attack is that there are so many options nowadays. You have Acerola, which works out. We have Super Scoop option. We have Guzma getting out of the active position. So dealing a lot of damage with that paralyzation shenanigans is definitely not good at the moment. It could become better, but I did not include it in the top 10, so I gave a little bit of information here. We have a Lowland Mug that blocks abilities from basic, so at least we have that going for us. So that was all for the Pokemon that cut short. Now to the top 10 list. Are you guys ready? Here it comes. Number 10 is Charizard GX. Why is Charizard GX so low on the list? Well, I've made an episode about it recently, talking about all the deck combinations for Charizard GX. It's not a bad Charizard overall, because we've seen worse Charizard cards throughout the years. But this will only be used, in my opinion, for the Raging Out GX, because that other attack does deal a lot of damage. Crimson Storm, one-shotting anything in the format, but we discard 3 fire energies. So in my opinion, discarding that many energies is not consistent at all, and you waste a lot of resources building that guy up. It's a stage 2 as well, so I think Ho-Oh GX is better as the fire type of the GXs in this format. And also Raging Out GX is just a fun little milling strategy where you discard the top 10 cards from your opponent's deck. Wing attacks is an attack you will, don't have to use here because it's just not a good attack. So Charizard getting on the number 10 spot, gonna put him right here. Number 9 goes to Tapu Fini, in my opinion. This is not a bad card overall, only 1 retreat cost, always nice to get that out of the active position. No weakness at all, so you can just splash it into your water deck. We do run Aqua Patch in a deck like that, so that is great splashing in this one. It has an attack that, actually let me just look at the card. It deals 20 damage and then you have to switch. Actually, you can switch. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, so just like Umbreon's attack, Umbreon GX, you can just swap around if you want to. Also his second attack, you actually have to discard yeah, 2 water energies, so that is yeah, efficient. Not all energies, discarding 2 water energies, and then you can snipe 120 damage on something, which is great. It can knock out Shaman EX, although that one gets rotated, but having that ability, or actually that attack, at your disposal in your water box deck to snipe around getting those last 2 prize cards is always awesome. And then Tapu Storm GX puts the opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached to it back to your opponent's deck, so yeah, just storm it away. So that is definitely awesome. That's why I put it on number 9. Number 8 goes to Ho-Oh GX. So this is the better fire type in my opinion, because it also deals 180 damage, and the downside that Ho-Oh GX has is that you cannot use that attack during your next turn, but you can switch around with Guzma, you can do something like Pokemon Ranger, use a regular switch in my opinion, so there's a lot of things you can do to get that attack going turn after turn. It also snipes 50 damage with the first attack, and Eternal Flame GX is an interesting GX move that can get stage 2 Pokemon from the discard all the way onto the bench without having to use the basic Pokemon in the first place. So that GX move might see some combinations later on. Nowadays we have Charizard GX, maybe you can put an army of Charizard GXs from out the discard straight on the bench, and expanded this a little bit better. We have Battle Compressor to make Ho-Oh GX do a crazy shenanigans of combos. Okay, we have 10, 9, 8. Number 7 goes to Noivern GX. Noivern GX is an interesting one because that Pokemon has the attack to put item lock back in the format. The first attack, actually, how many damage does it deal? Well, 50 damage, which is not bad. With Choice Band we added up to 80, and your opponent cannot play any item cards during his or her next turn. Sound familiar? Well, that is the same thing that the Seismitoad EX did all the way back a few years ago, and that did really well. The bad thing, this is a stage 1, we have to use Wally here in this strategy to get it going as quickly as possible, and we have to have 2 energies, so there's no DCE allowed here. We need a Darkness and a Cardless energy, so maybe you can do something like Max Elixir, Energy Switch, and attach a manual energy to get it going, but we have to see. But Noivern GX definitely has potential here. It also has other attacks. Let me just check them. Sonic Volume deals 120 damage, and yeah, you have to, your opponent cannot play any special energies from their hand, I believe, which is awesome. And also Boom Burst GX is an attack here. It's not an attack you will ever use most of the times because you need Darkness and Psychic and Cardless, and as you all know, Double Dragon Energy gets rotated, so that's why it's so low on the list. Otherwise it would have been higher. Okay, number 6 goes to Salazzle GX. This is one of yeah, my favorites in my opinion. We have Salazzle GX, 200 HP for yeah, this Pokemon. We can also pair it with a regular Salazzle, so we're kind of doing fine here with this ability. Maybe running a split line between those two. The only bad thing is we are weak to water, so Ninetales might just destroy us. But we are the fire type, so Metagross GX gets destroyed, so that is at least a good thing for us. And its attacks are not half bad as well. The first attack is called Diabolical Claw, and actually deals 50 damage for each prize card you have taken. In the late game, this is really powerful. It also has an attack which is called Heat Blast, 110 damage, and all the attacks only need 2 fire energies. So in theory, we can only yeah, just attach 2 energies to it, and we're fine. We can use every attack possible. That is awesome. Queen Haze GX discards all energies attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, so you can get rid of all the energies if you want to. A build up Gardevoir, a build up Tapu Lele, thinking about it, getting rid of everything might be useful in certain situations. And that second attack, just 2 shots Pokemon, that is awesome. And in the late game, this can be your sweeper. If you already took 4 prize cards, this can be your late game sweeper. On to number 5. Number 5 goes to Marshadow GX. Why is Marsh Shadow GX good? Well, I'm gonna talk about it here. Yeah, this card is so interesting. It has an ability, Shadow Hunt, which means it can use all the attacks of all the basic Pokemon in your discard pile. And then you can just use them, you can splash it into any deck and get rid of the annoying Pokemon. You can hit for weakness to things, main threats like Drampa, Tauros, Zoroark. Actually, this is a Zoroark, I don't have Zoroark. Also Raichu is weak to fighting, so a lot of things are weak to fighting, which are good. And then you just one-shot all these guys with a well-played Marshadow, because we can use things like, let's say for example, we have something good in our discard pile, like, yeah, let's say we have a Tauros GX in our discard pile. How cool is that? Well, with Marshadow, we can just attach Choice Band, and then we can use with a DCE that horn attack of the Tauros, and boom, out of nowhere we are one-shotting things because we are fighting type, so that is awesome. Marshadow also has attacks of its own, but I wouldn't personally make a deck or actually attack with Marshadow. It does have a low HP, so I would attack only with using something out of the discard pile, basic Pokemon's attacks, and then just surprise people. This is great. One copy of if you're having trouble against Darkrai GX is also great. More on that later. But now, NECROZMA GX. Why is NECROZMA GX good? Well, the thing is, you cannot get attacked by Carless types, so that is one thing with the ability. The Darkrai GX is what this card is all about. It deals 100 damage to every EX and GX on the opponent's side of the field. So bang, dealing that amount of damage is really awesome. Made an episode about this card as well. If you want to learn more, definitely check it out. Talked about some deck combinations. We can make a deck with Gardevoir. We can make other decks together with Tapu Koko, spreading around damage and hitting for those multiple KOs at a certain point in the game. So NECROZMA GX also has a first attack. I'm gonna just check it out here. We have a Prismatic Burst. You can discard all, actually you have to discard all Psychic Energies and then you deal 60 more damage for every Psychic Energy you discard. So let's, in theory, if you have 3 Psychic Energies attached, you have 180 damage plus the 10 base damage is 190 damage. So in theory this could be also an attack after you use Darkrai GX if you want to sacrifice your NECROZMA GX and make one last effort attack. But I would use it mainly for Darkrai GX in a combination with Psychic types. You can use it with Metagross, you can use it with Gardevoir. A lot of decks it could be useful to splash in one NECROZMA GX. Then now to the number 3 spot. I do think these are the best ones of the set. Number 3 goes to Darkrai GX. Why is Darkrai GX so good? Well, it has an ability, just a resurrection ability actually. If it's in the discard pile, you can just activate the ability and put Darkrai GX from the discard pile onto your bench straightly with a basic Darkness Energy attached already. So if there's a Darkness Energy in your discard pile and Darkrai GX is in your discard pile, it jumps out of nowhere on the field with an energy. With things like Energy Switch and stuff, or maybe the Darkrai EX from Breakpoint that has the attack Dark Pulse, we have a great deck going on. So Darkrai GX also has Dead End GX, and that is wow. If the opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, that Pokemon is now knocked out. Wow, think about things like Salazzle again, this keeps popping up. This is awesome. If something is affected by special conditions, boom, you can just one-shot it, and there's no other condition like that. That is a really great GX move and could work well with a strategy like I mentioned, Salazzle, maybe a 2-2 line just to get that one-hit KO on anything. Also, his second attack deals 130 damage, and the attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. So you can hit things like Gardevoir, just two-shotting them if you're having trouble against Fairy, or maybe Sylveon. That's also a threat in the format. So Darkrai GX, definitely something to look out for. Then number 2 goes to Golisopod. Golisopod is awesome. Made a video about it as well, so I still have to make a video about Darkrai GX and Marsh Shadow Gx, so that will come soon on the channel. Be expecting it really soon. Golisopod GX is great. Why is Golisopod GX great? We only need 1 energy to one-shot things. How is this possible? Well, it deals 30 damage as the base damage, and it's the first impression, just like in the video games, the exact same name. If this Pokemon was on your bench and it became your active Pokemon, we deal 90 more damage. So that is 120 damage for a single energy. With things like the Laurentis promo and Choice Band, we are suddenly out of nowhere one-shotting things, and boom, Golisopod GX shows its might. It also has a GX move dealing 150 damage, and then it also has the side effect switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. And as the second attack, Armor Press, dealing 100 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage, so could be helpful to prevent KOs. Talked about this card in detail before. If you want to learn more, definitely check the episodes on my channel. I also will put a link in the description for most of these episodes. So, Golisopod GX, definitely something you want to pull at your pre-release. It's gonna be a great deck. Having that grass type is also huge against things like Lycanroc GX, Lapras GX, other things that are weak to grass. There are still other cards, but I can't think of them on the top of my head. But this will be a great deck. Darkrai will be a great deck. NECROZMA Gardevoir will be great. Marshadow is a great deck card. Salazzle is great. Noivern is great. Ho-Oh, I'm having my doubts, but we have the Kiawe supporter. Tapu Fini is just splashable in water decks. Charizard is a fun little middle deck. So what could possibly be the number 1? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in Guardians Rising we had a top card Tapu Lele. Here again, the hype is real. We have Gardevoir GX on the #1 spot. Why is Gardevoir GX so good? Well, I already talked about it in an episode, so you should know. But for those of you that are new to the channel, Gardevoir GX has the ability to attach a single fairy energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So X3 energy acceleration. So in theory you can attach a fairy energy thanks to that ability, attach a DCE and you're off. And what can Gardevoir GX do? It's a stage 2. It has the infinite force. It's just the same like Tapu Lele here. But the thing here is that this attack is better. It deals 30 damage for the energies attached to both active Pokemon. So in theory it has a minimum base of 30. If it has a DCE, it has a minimum base of 90 without the opponent even having an energy. So let's say the opponent has 3 energies, well, then they're screwed. We are dealing 180 damage with Choice Band 210 and yeah, everything dies. It's just so good. Gardevoir also has Twilight GX, putting 10 cards from the discard pile back into our deck. So it's a Gardevoir, what am I saying? Garbodor proof as well. So this deck will be huge. I'm gonna make all these decks, make them on TCG Online. Show them what the strategies are and make some episodes about the ones I haven't talked about. I made an episode about Charizard, made an episode about Golisopod, made an episode about Gardevoir, about NECROZMA. More will follow, so definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed this little video about the top 10 cards from the GX, actually the GX cards from Burning Shadows, definitely show your support by destroying the like button, because you know I always appreciate that, and that gives me the support to make better and more content for you guys. I have a pre-release on Sunday, so expect to see you on the channel here, because I'll be opening a bunch of Burning Shadow packs, and hopefully I can pull one of these awesome GXs. Yeah, pulling a Mug would also be great, but I don't want Machamp, so that is just throwing it out there. Anyways, this was Sup TCG. Thanks again for tuning in. I will be seeing you guys soon in another video. Peace out.